Hello and welcome back here to Real Talk. I'm Josh Bell, your host, and today we're taking a closer look at a film that's just as unconventional as its title character, Tim Burton's Ed Wood. Now, this isn't just any biopic, it's an affectionate, beautifully stylized homage to one of Hollywood's most infamous filmmakers. And while Ed Wood may have been labeled the worst director of all time, Burton's portrayal of him offers an entirely different perspective, celebrating his unflagging determination and passion even when the rest of the world wasn't exactly cheering him on. Ed Wood, released in 1994, is one of Burton's most personal films. It steps away from the gothic and fantastical landscapes he's made a name for himself with, and instead dives into the very real, sometimes brutal world of Hollywood. But don't be fooled, Burton's creative touch is all over this movie. He frames Wood's story through his signature lens, blending heartfelt optimism with a touch of dark humor. The result? A film that didn't exactly make waves in the box office, but has since grown into a beloved classic, especially among filmmakers, cinephiles, and those who appreciate the grit and tenacity it takes to make art in an unforgiving industry. This story holds a special place in Burton's filmography. With a career built on exploring the lives of misfits and outsiders, it's no wonder Burton was drawn to Ed Wood, a filmmaker who, despite countless setbacks and a never-ending string of so bad they're good movies, kept his dream alive. Burton brings his own perspective as a self-identified outsider in the industry, revealing both the trials and joys of creative work. Through Wood, Burton shows us that sometimes success isn't measured by acclaim or financial triumph. It's measured by the sheer resilience to create, to dream, and to keep pushing forward, even when no one else believes in you. So whether you're a fan of quirky, heartfelt underdog stories, or curious about what it takes to pursue your vision no matter the odds, you're in the right place. So let's dive in and explore why Ed Wood has earned its place as one of the most unique, inspiring films about the art of filmmaking, and why it remains a pivotal entry in Burton's cinematic legacy. So Ed Wood whisks us back to the glitz and grit of 1950s Hollywood, following the unwaveringly optimistic Edward D. Wood Jr., known for his outlandish ideas and near-legendary determination. Ed's story is one of pure resilience in the face of overwhelming odds, played with an infectious energy by Johnny Depp. Ed is a true dreamer, convinced he can make a name for himself in Tinseltown. Even if he lacks the technical skill, budget, and let's be honest, the critical acclaim most directors might actually be seeking. We meet Ed Wood as he's passionately working on his projects, undeterred by rejection letters and a film industry that has little patience for his unique, albeit chaotic, style. His scripts are eccentric, his costumes are mismatched, and his special effects are, well, resourceful. But what he lacks in a traditional expertise, he makes up for in charisma, rallying a motley crew of loyal friends and aspiring actors who share his relentless spirit. Burton frames this passion beautifully, showing us that while Ed's films may not achieve cinematic greatness, his determination to create, regardless of how bad the final product might be, is something almost heroic. A key turning point in Ed's journey is his friendship with horror legend Bela Lugosi, masterfully portrayed here by Martin Landau in an Oscar award-winning performance. At the time, Lugosi is grappling with his fading career and personal struggles, including addiction and the loneliness of declining Hollywood star. Despite Lugosi's challenges, he and Ed form an unexpected bond, both recognizing in each other the feeling of being an outsider, misunderstood and cast aside by the industry they love. Their friendship becomes the heart of the film, infusing extra depth and poignancy rarely seen in biopics. Burton handles this relationship with genuine care, highlighting how Ed's unflagging optimism and Lugosi's melancholic nostalgia somehow bring out the best in one another. Ed's career culminates with the infamous Plan 9 from Outer Space, often cited as one of the worst films ever made. Yet, under Burton's direction, the making of Plan 9 becomes almost a tribute to creative freedom, capturing Ed's joy and unshakable belief in his work, even if that work included flying saucers on visible strings and cardboard tombstones. The cast and crew he gathers around him, each an eccentric in their own right, create a unique family, bound not by success, but by the sheer thrill of making movies. In Ed Wood, Burton gives us a portrait not just of a flawed filmmaker, but of an indomitable spirit who saw beauty where others saw failure. Through Ed, Burton explores the magic and madness of the creative process, showing that sometimes the most meaningful achievements are born not from perfection, but from an earnest heart and an unwavering vision. This film isn't just about Ed Wood. It's about everyone who's ever dared to create something, no matter how it is received. Tim Burton's directorial style is instantly recognizable in Ed Wood, yet this time he takes a much more restrained approach that fits the story's nostalgic and heartfelt tone. He departs from his usual gothic grandeur. Burton opts for a black and white aesthetic, evoking the look and feel of classic 50s cinema and paying homage to the world of low-budget B-movies. This monochromatic choice brings a vintage authenticity, perfectly matching the era and immersing us in Ed's eccentric Hollywood. Every frame feels like a lost reel from the golden age of cinema, blending old Hollywood's gritty glamour and Burton's love for the strange and misunderstood. Choosing black and white also highlights Burton's admiration for Ed Wood's dreams to be a filmmaker, giving it an art house feel that elevates even the shabbiest of Ed's sets and props. Burton's direction here is less about flashiness and more about that sentimentality, capturing Wood's passion in a warm and sympathetic light. The infamous sets and props like the wobbly tombstones and visible strings on saucers are filmed with such care that they seem like tender tributes to the original B-movies that inspired Ed Wood's career, rather than mock the limitations of Ed's work. Burton presents these elements with respect, adding a layer of beauty to the often mocked worst filmmaker ever. While Ed Wood lacks that overtly fantastical visuals of Beetlejuice or Batman, Burton's thematic elements remain deeply rooted. At its heart, Ed Wood is a story of blurred boundaries between fantasy and reality, a recurring theme we've seen in Burton's films. Ed's unwavering optimism leads him to live a world partly of his own creation, a Hollywood where determination is enough to make a star, regardless of talent or resources. It's a beautiful parallel to Burton himself, an outsider in Hollywood who carved his own path with a distinctive vision. In Ed, Burton finds a kindred spirit, a dreamer who's more driven by passion than by realism, capturing the essence of a misfit trying to find his place in an unwelcoming industry. This approach also makes Ed Wood one of Burton's gentlest and most human films. Burton's camera doesn't linger on the flaws of Wood's work as failures, but rather as testaments to Ed's indomitable spirit. There's a beauty in Wood's imperfections that Burton celebrates, highlighting the creativity and courage it takes to chase dreams even when no one else believes in them. This film is a love letter to misfits, to underdogs, and to outsiders who in the face of doubt and hardship keep pushing forward. In this sense, Ed Wood is as much a tribute to artistic perseverance as it is a biopic. Burton's direction here is a masterclass in restraint and empathy, showcasing his evolution as a filmmaker who can create depth without his usual visual extravagance. With Ed Wood, Burton proves that his style isn't just about gothic flair. It's about capturing the beauty in brokenness and the triumph of the human spirit, even when the rest of the world may not understand. Now, Johnny Depp's performance at Ed Wood is without question one of the highlights of the film. His portrayal perfectly captures Ed's childlike enthusiasm and his irrepressible optimism, painting him as a lovable underdog with an unshakable belief in his cinematic vision, however flawed that it may be. Depp brings an infectious energy to the character, embodying Ed's naivete without ever reducing him to just a one-dimensional caricature. His depiction of Ed's earnestness and passion infuses the film with warmth, making us root for a character who might otherwise be dismissed as delusional. It's as if Depp and Burton together crafted a performance that honors Wood's legacy without condescension. Watching Depp as Ed Wood, you feel as though he believes in every word he's saying, no matter how absurd the situation. This blend of idealism and innocence in Depp's performance makes Ed Wood feel genuine, embodying this idea that passion can triumph over technical skill, at least in the heart of the filmmaker. Then there's Martin Landau, whose portrayal of Bela Lugosi is transformative. Landau is the film's emotional anchor, and his performance is steeped in both dignity and tragedy. He captures Lugosi's fall from fame with such nuance and empathy that it's almost painful to watch. Burton's decision to pair Depp's buoyant Ed with Landau's tragic Lugosi creates this rich, dynamic contrast. While Ed is the eternal optimist, Lugosi represents the harsh reality of Hollywood's fleeting stardom. Landau's Lugosi is a man who, despite his waning health and career, still clings to the fragment of his former glory with dignity and pride. Landau brings such weight to the role that it's easy to see why his performance earned him the Academy Award. It's a rare feat for a performance in a Tim Burton film to be honored by the Academy, and Landau's win speaks to the depth he brought to the character, making Lugosi both larger than life, yet still deeply human. And the chemistry between Depp and Landau adds layers to the film's exploration of friendship, loyalty, and the bittersweet journey of an artist. The bond they share is poignant, built on mutual respect. Even if Ed's reverence for Lugosi is somewhat naive, their friendship is heartwarming, but tinged with sadness, especially as Ed becomes one of the few people who still see Lugosi as a star. Burton handles their relationship with tenderness, never mocking or diminishing either man's contribution to the world of cinema. In a way, their friendship serves as a reflection of the highs and lows of Hollywood itself, a place where dreams and reality often collide in unexpected ways. Interestingly, Ed Wood is one of the few Burton films without a Danny Elfman score. Instead, Howard Shore takes the reins, delivering a soundtrack that blends seamlessly into the world Burton creates. Shore's music brings a nostalgic, vintage atmosphere that transports us back to 1950s Hollywood, capturing both the whimsy and melancholy of Ed's story. His score is less theatrical than Elfman's trademark style, but it fits perfectly, adding emotional authenticity that complements the film's mix of humor and pathos. Shore's music is essential in grounding the story, serving as a kind of melodic tribute to the golden age of Hollywood that Ed so adored. Beyond Depp and Landau, Burton's entire cast and crew contribute to a world that feels both heightened and familiar. From the meticulous costume design that captures the period's look, to the impressive makeup effects that transform Landau into Lugosi, Ed Wood is a film where every detail feels intentionally crafted. Yet it's a Depp and Landau's performance that breathes life into the quirky, heartfelt biopic, elevating it to something truly extraordinary. While Burton's direction ensures score, it was the entire team's dedication. Ed Wood becomes not just a tribute to one filmmaker, but a celebration of all artists who dare to dream, regardless of the odds stacked against them. Ed Wood is, at its heart, a film about passion, resilience, and the beauty of embracing one's true self, even when the world doesn't quite understand or celebrate you for it. Burton uses Ed's character to explore themes of isolation and the quest for belonging, portraying Ed as a hero who exists on the fringes of Hollywood's glitzy, perfection-driven landscape. He isn't the kind of filmmaker that industries revere. His movies are clunky, his effects are laughable, and his storytelling is unique. Yet his love for filmmaking is undeniable, and Burton invites us to see beyond his technical flaws to appreciate his unbreakable spirit. Ed Wood may be an outsider, but he's an artist whose passion defines him, and that's something Burton deeply respects. In Ed Wood, success is redefined as the courage to pursue your dreams and find fulfillment, even if the world labels you a failure. Hollywood often values only the glamorous and marketable, but Burton challenges this by positioning Ed's persistence and optimism as triumphs in their own right. The film suggests that there's immense value in the journey itself and in the community one builds along the way. Ed's eccentric troupe of actors, friends, and collaborators forms a family, and it's this sense of belonging and shared purpose that gives Ed's life its meaning. Burton, who often feels like an outsider in the mainstream film industry himself, uses Ed's story to celebrate those who refuse to conform, who choose creative freedom over financial success. It's a powerful reminder that the true measure of success lies not in accolades or profits, but in the fulfillment of following your own path and vision. The relationship between Ed and Bela is another powerful layer of the film's symbolism. Lugosi, a once revered horror icon, represents the fading star, the artist who once stood in the spotlight but is now left behind as Hollywood evolves. For Lugosi, Ed's friendship is a bittersweet lifeline. Ed idolizes him as a legend, while the industry is viewing him as a has-been. Through this friendship, Burton examines the sacrifices, struggles, and heartbreaks that come with fame and the cruel reality of Hollywood's short memory. Their bond reflects Hollywood's cynical nature, where yesterday's stars are often discarded for the next big thing. Yet despite the challenges and their differences, Ed and Bela find solace in each other, sharing a deep understanding of what it means to live for art, even if the world has moved beyond them. In many ways, Ed Wood challenges us to consider what it means to fail. Burton doesn't see Ed's lack of technical skill as a mark of failure. Rather, he positions failure as a necessary step on the path to self-discovery and fulfillment. Ed's films may not have been successful by traditional standards, but they've left a lasting impact precisely because they are authentic, and I think that's what Burton admires. Ed Wood resonates as a celebration of imperfection and resilience, and asks us to embrace our own quirks and to see beauty in the flawed, the overlooked, and the strange. This film is a tribute not only to Ed Wood as a filmmaker, but to anyone who dreams boldly and loves passionately despite the odds. When Ed Wood premiered in 1994, it was critically praised, but didn't draw large audiences. Despite the incredible performances and Burton's unique vision, the film struggled at the box office, failing to recoup its budget. Its black and white cinematography, unconventional subject, and focus on a notorious filmmaker known for his low-budget B-movies were a hard sell for mainstream audiences at the time. But this initial lukewarm reception belies the film's lasting impact. Over the years, Ed Wood has gained a cult following and is now celebrated as one of the most iconic films about filmmaking, viewed by many as a love letter to cinema's dreamers and misfits. Today, Ed Wood is heralded as a film that perfectly captures the spirit of relentless creativity, regardless of your resources and recognition. It's appreciated not just by Burton fans, but by filmmakers, cinephiles, all who see it as a testament to the passion that fuels every artist. Ed Wood's journey reminds us that dedication and heart can sometimes mean more than talent alone. An idea that resonates with anyone who's ever had a dream they pursued despite the odds. This message has inspired countless aspiring filmmakers, artists, and creators who see Ed's story as a reassurance that there is a place for those who march to their own beat. For Burton, Ed Wood marks a pivotal moment in his career. It's the ultimate celebration of Hollywood's outsiders, making it clear that his focus isn't on perfection but on humanity, the quirky, resilient, and passionate sides of those who live to create. Ironically, a film about one of Hollywood's worst directors has become a definitive tribute to the artistry of filmmaking, capturing the madness, heartbreak, and beauty of a life spent pursuing art. Ed Wood challenges traditional ideas of success and failure, and in doing so, it has achieved rare respectability, reminding us that there's value in staying true to one's vision, even if mainstream accolades are elusive. Over time, Ed Wood has left a significant mark on pop culture. Its influence can be seen in other films that celebrate creative ambition, no matter how unpolished or misunderstood. Burton's portrayal of Ed as an eternal optimist, someone whose love for cinema is untouched by rejection, reminds us of the unbreakable spirit required to create in the face of constant setbacks. This film will forever stand as Burton's tribute to Hollywood underdogs, those who refuse to give up their dreams, and that's a big reason why it's become one of the most respected movies about filmmaking itself. In the end, Ed Wood found its audience among those who understand the power of perseverance and the joy of pure, unbridled creativity. All right, here's some behind-the-scenes tidbits about Ed Wood, a movie that was as quirky in production as the real Ed Wood himself. First off, Tim Burton's decision to shoot in black and white was more than just an aesthetic choice. It was essential to capturing the vintage feel of 1950s B-movies that defined Wood's career. There was pushback from the studio, as black and white was not and is not as popular a choice. But Burton insisted, knowing it was crucial for authenticity. The black and white palette allowed audiences to feel immersed in Ed's world of lo-fi cinema and conveyed an era when both Wood was inspired and constrained by the limitations of his time. Johnny Depp's dedication to the role went beyond what we see on screen. He wore prosthetic teeth to mimic Wood's distinctive smile, a subtle but effective touch that adds to his transformation. Depp reportedly based his performance partly on radio show host Casey Kasem and classic Hollywood showman, giving Ed that endlessly optimistic, over-the-top enthusiasm that makes him so endearing, if somewhat oblivious. Casting Bela Lugosi was another unique challenge. Burton knew that whoever took on the role had to bring out Lugosi's haunted yet proud essence. Enter Martin Landau, whose portrayal was not only brilliant but painstakingly researched. Landau studied old films, Lugosi's accent and mannerisms, perfecting every nuance to embody the tragic depth of an aging, forgotten horror icon. The result? A performance so moving, so authentic, that it earned Landau the Academy Award, and cemented Lugosi's legacy and giving the actor a career resurgence that paralleled his character's journey. One of the film's most humorous behind-the-scenes stories involves the iconic scene where Ed and his team are baptized to secure funding from a religious financier. Burton amped up the absurdity of the scene, leaning into the eccentricity that surrounded Ed's career. It's a funny, bizarre moment that sums up the lengths Ed would go to make his dreams come true, no matter how unconventional or outlandish his methods. These quirky, heartfelt touches behind the scenes are part of what makes Ed Wood such a beloved film. Burton's attention to detail, combined with the cast's commitment to their roles, helped turn this biopic into a celebration of the underdog spirit and resilience, giving Ed Wood his well-deserved place in cinema history. So here's my personal take on Ed Wood, and let me tell you, I can't say enough good things about it. To me, this isn't just a great film. It might just be the greatest biopic ever made. There is so much heart, so much history, and an unmistakable love for cinema packed into every frame. Tim Burton takes us beyond the surface of Ed Wood's quirky B-movie legacy, diving deep into what it truly means to be a creator who's driven by passion, even in the face of failure. He's made a movie about finding joy in the process, about pushing forward when nobody else believes in you, and for everyone who's ever tried to make something out of nothing, that's a powerful message. Johnny Depp and Martin Landau are brilliant. Depp brings Ed to life with such sincere optimism, even as the world around him throws obstacle after obstacle in his way. And Landau's performance as Bela Lugosi is heartbreaking, it's real and unforgettable. The friendship between Ed and Bela is what gives the film its emotional punch, a bond rooted in shared struggles and an understanding of what it means to be cast aside in an industry obsessed with image and perfection. But what makes Ed Wood resonate so strongly, especially today, is its celebration of imperfection. In our perfection-driven, highly curated world, Ed's story reminds us that art doesn't have to be polished to be meaningful. He was a creator who wore his flaws on his sleeve, and there's something incredibly moving about that kind of honesty. Burton's take on Ed's life isn't about pity. It's about honoring that raw, unfiltered drive to create. So for me, this is a perfect 10 out of 10. Ed Wood isn't just a standout in Burton's career. It's a film that stands alone in cinema itself. It's funny, it's poignant, and it's inspiring. If you haven't seen it yet, I really encourage you to watch it with fresh eyes. And if you have, maybe watch it again and think about what it says about dreaming big, about the beauty of imperfection, and about the resilience it takes to keep creating no matter what. That's the real magic of Ed Wood. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Ed Wood. It's been such a pleasure to dive into Burton's heartfelt homage to one of Hollywood's most eccentric filmmakers. I hope this episode captured just how special Ed Wood is, not only in Burton's career, but in the realm of filmmaking itself. Next time, we're going to take a wild turn into the outrageous world of Mars Attacks. Get ready for a truly unique experience as we explore this campy, star-studded satire that shows yet another side of Burton's cinematic vision. It's got aliens, a fantastic ensemble cast, and Burton's unmistakable blend of humor and chaos that only he could bring to the screen. If you enjoyed today's deep dive, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Threads and Instagram at RealRealTalk for updates, behind-the-scenes snippets, and more. And hey, I'd love to hear from you. Did Ed Wood resonate with you as much as it does with me? Is it one of Burton's best in your eyes? Send us your thoughts, favorite scenes, standout performances. I'd love to hear if this film is as special for you. As always, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep watching, keep loving, and keep those reels rolling. We'll see you soon.